Cheers, Robin.
Cheers. What's that killer cocktail combination for a successful business?
That's a very cool link there, Robin. If I think back, I've spent a lot of time trying to work out what it was in UMove that made us successful. I've actually come up with a bit of a methodology that I'm using with businesses that I work with. It's actually got 10 points, but there's a few which are absolutely critical ones. And the first, most important one is clarity.
Yes.
So having that absolute clarity that we talked about earlier in terms of what you want to achieve, what you want the business to represent.
Vision.
And that's really, really important because when you're going forward in business, opportunities come from all directions. And quite often they're just distractions. And many people will get pulled off. Oh, that's a great opportunity. I can't leave that one. That's another great opportunity. And the most powerful thing myself and Glenn learned was how to say no and how to choose things not to do. And we said no to way more things than we said yes to. And we, at a time when it would have been easy to be trying to make money from referrals, conventional referrals, insurance products, all sorts of other ancillary revenue streams in lettings and sales, we said no, we need to focus on sales and lettings, the core business, and not worry about the other stuff. And I think that was a key part of the success. I think a second thing, which is part of my methodology, is around systemization and automation.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people in business, it's almost driven by ego that, they will quote the number of staff who work in their businesses as being the key metric. Oh, we're up to 20 staff now, we're up to 30 staff, we're up to 40 staff. And it's like, oh, isn't this great?
Yeah.
Well, actually, personally, I think that's terrible. When we chose our offices over in sunny Cleckheaton, it was a kind of, these are perfect, and they're perfect because they're a certain size, and it means we can't grow the business beyond that size.
Okay.
So that means as we grow the business, we have to automate and systemize. So I remember poor old Sarah Best, who used to do landlord payments once a week on a Tuesday. And she'd start landlord payments at like 9:30 once she'd had a cup of tea and settle herself down and everything. And she'd usually finish by lunchtime. And then the business was growing. It was getting longer and longer, sometimes being 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when she finished those landlord payments. And we had to work out how to systemize and automate that. So we did that, we worked out, we put a proper process in place, and suddenly that process went to being a 15-minute process, whether Sarah was paying 5 landlords, 50 landlords, 500 landlords, or to be frank, 5,000 landlords.
Yes.
Because it didn't matter the volume of landlords that you were dealing with.
Yeah.
Then it meant we could go to a daily process instead of a weekly. And because everything was systemized and automated and linked with APIs and all that kind of stuff, you were removing all of the human error from the process as well. And that's what you've got to do. If you're running Amazon, to go to that extreme, you can't have people keying things in. You've got to have data being transferred from there to there, and things happening automatically and in a systemized, repeatable way. Because it's only when you've systemized and you can repeat it, you can scale your business and amplify it. Because amplification amplifies all the faults.
Yes,
in the
it
same
does.
way it amplifies all the good things.
I know.
So you've got to get it right before you start growing. So systemization and automation. Another part of the cocktail for me, and this was one of the things that Glenn was an absolute genius at, was we'd be sat there having not a cocktail, to be honest, that often, but we'd be sat there having a cup of tea and a chat in the sheep pen, and we'd be talking about what we're planning to do, and we'd agree, let's do A, B and C then, and we'd go home that evening, and then I'd arrive back in the next morning and Glenn would have done it.
Brilliant.
It was just that instant execution. He'd go home on that night and he'd subscribe to this, sign up for that, produce a letter, and quite often there'd be an email being sent out, and the whole world would know we were doing it. And at the times that was a bit scary. Sometimes like, oh my God, what have you done, Glenn? But equally, it was tremendously empowering because you act quickly, and that means you can then fail quickly and you can learn quickly. And the things that work, you amplify. You do it again, you do more of. The things that don't work, you stop and get rid of, or tweak so that they work better. But if you're not executing quickly, you can't go through that iteration and that learning process. And it's so powerful, and so many businesses go along to networking events, educational events, things like the Entrepreneur Circle, which we went to a lot of the time and learned a lot of our things from. And we'd come back from those meetings and we'd say, right, okay, so bang, 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 we need to implement these 5 things. And sure enough, Glenn would do 4 of them before I'd even done my one. But But you'd then go to the next meeting and you'd say, oh, so how did you go on with that? Oh, we haven't done that yet. Well, what about this other one? Oh, we haven't got around to doing that. Oh, what about the other thing we discussed? Oh, we're just planning that one out.
Yes.
We've done the mind map and we've done the mock-up.
Yeah.
Well, why haven't you built it? Why haven't you just done it?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, businesses are so prepared and spend so much time getting ready when they should just get on with doing it.
Amazing.
You know, because good is good enough quite often. And then the final one, actually, I want to mention, this is really important in the context of us having this conversation today. I think so many businesses don't treat their suppliers as partners.
Okay, yeah.
And for us, you know, we came over to see you and we wanted to embrace you and Eddie and your team and make you part of our team and work in partnership with you. Whereas I think a lot of businesses treat their suppliers in kind of that buyer-supplier relationship where, you know, we're going to ask you to do something, we're going to beat you up over the head when you don't deliver, and then when we don't get the results, we'll just sack you and go to another supplier. So you get no enduring value, no enduring relationship.
Yeah.
It's that sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Partnership is one of the, you know, people will say, we're on Property Stream, you know, people will say partnerships are the worst ship in the world. I think they're the best ship in the world, personally.
I agree, yeah.
Be on a ship. You know, so the partnerships I had with Glenn, the partnerships we had with our franchisees and our staff, who we all treated as peers, and then the partnerships we had with our suppliers, who we didn't consider as suppliers. You know, you would come along to our conferences and what have you, and you know, the franchisees and the staff, you were all just kind of equal and just part of the family, yeah. And that meant we achieved amazing things. So that's the perfect cocktail for me. There's a few others, but they're the most important ones.
Absolutely incredible advice from someone who's been there and done it and achieved great things.
But this cocktail itself will take quite a lot of beating.
Okay, well, we've got a bit of time for that. Brilliant. Thank you, David.